Good morning and Merry Christmas. I wanted to come on here and give a little bit of support to those of you out there who do not have a loving and supportive family at Christmas time. So, at Christmas time, there's lots of pictures of people with loving families. Some of the pictures are honest and some of the pictures are not honest. When you get to know people's real lives, they put up pictures of smiling faces. Everybody's well dressed. Everybody's smiling. Some of those pictures are real, and some of those pictures are not real. And some of you, I myself, I'm very fortunate. My family is not perfect. No family is perfect, but my family members are loving and supportive. And not everybody gets to say that. So who's here? If you're here, just say hello. I'm going to hang out with you for a few minutes. I'm about to go pick up my kids, but I had a few minutes that I just wanted to make available and spend with whoever's here on Facebook on this Christmas morning. And I want to talk about, what do you do when you're spending time with family members who are toxic? What does that mean to have a toxic family? Do you forgive? Are you vulnerable with them? People will tell you. You will have people in your life, well-meaning, loving people, who will give you advice to be vulnerable. If you're just vulnerable with these family members, they will open their heart and they'll let you in and they'll care for you. And you have a moral obligation to be forgiving. And I have to admit, I used to believe that we had a moral obligation to be forgiving. So what does that mean? Is that true? Merry Christmas. I see some people watching. If you're watching, look, this is just a video to hang out with you on Christmas morning. I don't have my kids yet. I'm about to go get my kids, but I had a little bit of time and I wanted to spend time with you. So I'm going to talk about, for those of you, look, I have a loving and supportive family. I can be vulnerable and they will express that they care about me. I can say something, I can reveal my imperfections, and my family expresses that they care. There are other people who do not have that. There are other people who have toxic families. So what does it mean to have a toxic family? And should you be vulnerable and forgiving with toxic family? So I just wanted to share this with those of you who don't, have that loving and supportive family, and it's Christmas time and maybe you feel lonely, and I'm here to hang out with you for a minute. So what does it mean? Look, let me tell you what toxic family means. You could have a family that says that they are loving and supportive, and they are actually loving and supportive. And when you reveal, hey, I'm struggling with something, or this is who I really am, then they say, we love you and we support you in your struggles. We love and support who you really are. We don't require you to be different. That is a loving, supportive family. There are other people in the world, whether it's a family member or not, who will say, I do not love and support you. I am your enemy. That person who acknowledges, I am against you, that person is not toxic. They are being honest with you. They are saying that they are against you. The people who are toxic are the ones who claim to be loving and supportive. Meanwhile, they do not actually love and care. So let me give you 3 examples. What happens in these families is they require you to fill a role. They don't treat you as a human being. They require you to fill a role. So I'm going to talk about the success family. I'm going to talk about the religious family and the working class family. Just really quick. What does the success family say? We love and support you as long as you are successful. You have to become a doctor or a lawyer It's not okay to be a comedian. It's not okay to be an artist. You have to be a doctor or a lawyer or an accountant or something that we deem successful. And if you fill this role, and as long as you abide by this set of rules, then we love you and we support you and we feel good about you because you are filling the role that we want you to fill, which is our version of success. So they say that they are a loving and supportive family, and they'll say, oh, we really want you to be a doctor or a lawyer or an accountant because that's really what's best for you. We are really just looking out for what's best for you. But do they really care about what's best for you? What if your heart desires to be an artist? What if your heart desires to be a poet? What if your heart desires to be a comedian? You know, are you allowed to be something different? So the family who says that they love you, but then requires you to be successful, that's toxic. They're saying one thing, but doing another. What's another example? The religious family. The religious family who says, we love you, we want what's best for you, no matter what, as long as you're not having sex outside of marriage, as long as you're not homosexual, as long as you're not LGBTQ, then we love you. The religious family. Make sure you believe the right doctrine, and fit into our sexual morals, then we love you. But we say that we love you unconditionally, but that's dishonest. That's a toxic family. They don't actually love unconditionally. They say they love unconditionally, but they don't actually love unconditionally. The religious family. Example number 3, and this is my last example of a toxic family, is the working class family who says, oh, successful people, people only become successful and financially wealthy by stepping on top of other people, of working class people. So you're not allowed to become successful and wealthy. We love you. We don't want you to be one of those bad people who becomes wealthy and rich financially, because those people are bad, right? It's just another religious doctrine. There's the success religious doctrine, there's the sexual morality religious doctrine, and then there's the working class religious doctrine that says you must remain at this level, don't go above this level, and we're doing this because we really care about you. But they want you to fit into that. And so then if you become successful, then you run the risk of being ostracized or judged by family. The working class family. They want you to stay working class just like them. Okay, this is what toxic is. These are just three examples. The success, the sexual morality religious family, and the working class religious family, right? They want you to fit into a role, not to be who you really are. So if you have one of these toxic families, you know, it's like you see everybody around you at Christmas time. I'm fortunate. I have a loving and supportive family. They love me for who I am. Sometimes we disagree. They disagree, and they love me anyway. They say, you're free to be who you are. I disagree with you, but I love you anyway. I'm not going to withdraw my love and support from you just because you don't do what I want or you don't fill the role that I want. I have a loving and supportive family. My family is honest. We say we love and support you, but I've also been involved with families who are not honest, who say they love and support you unconditionally, but they don't. They actually mean as long as you fit into the roles that we have for you. As long as you give us what you want and make our family look good, according to our views of what looks good. So what about those of you who don't have that? Is anybody, if you're here hanging out with me, drop a comment live. I'm here. Merry Christmas. You know, I just want to hang out with you for a few minutes before I go get my kids. And should you be vulnerable with toxic family? I just gave you 3 examples of toxic family, so go back to the beginning if you missed it. But should you be vulnerable with toxic family? And some people out there, and I used to be one of them, would say, if you're just vulnerable, they will open their hearts to you. Some people don't have the capacity or the know-how or the maturity or the knowledge to know, or the skill to be open-hearted towards you. Some people don't have the capacity. So if you're vulnerable with somebody who just hurts you over and over again and isn't honest about their true intentions, should you be vulnerable with them? No. My position is no. Learn who is safe. How do you decide who is safe and who is not safe? One of my favorite examples is from, I love medieval war shows, Vikings and Braveheart, and I love these medieval war shows. And when you are inside the city walls and somebody approaches your city walls, they want inside. Who do you let inside? When somebody is standing at the city walls asking to be let inside, what do they say? They ask, "What do you want?" You hear from them what they want. Merry Christmas to those of you who are watching. I see a few viewers, but no comments yet. Please comment live. Ask me your questions. I'm here to spend time with those of you. Look, I have a loving and supportive family. I'm about to go spend time with them, but I also know what it's like to be around toxic people who are dishonest with you and who are not safe. And some of you don't get that. At Christmas time, you don't get that. You don't get the loving and supportive family. You have to go be around toxic family. So, what is that like? And what do you do? So if they come to you are your own city. You are your own castle. And so if they come to the city walls, you ask them, what would you like? What is it that you want? What do you hope for? If you watch a show, I love watching these medieval shows. They come to the city walls. What do you want? And they answer you, and based on their answer, you determine whether they are trustworthy or not. So if they answer you in a way that appears to be honest, then you decide whether you take the risk of letting them in. If they answer you in a way, maybe you know them from the past, and they have told you, I love and support you unconditionally. But then as soon as you violate their set of rules, you see they are not being honest with you. So you don't trust that person anymore, and you don't let them in anymore. That's my point of view. Now, are you hearing anger in me? Yeah, there's real anger. There's real hurt. There's real resentment. Because if somebody says that they are being, and why do they say that? Are they being malicious? Many people are not being malicious. It's not malicious. They literally don't have the capacity to be emotionally open and loving with you. They don't have the capacity to be open-hearted. They haven't experienced it themselves. They didn't grow up with that. And some of you who are listening have had families who you don't have the loving and supportive family. You have the toxic family who's not honest. Look, again, I said, it's like, if you come to me and tell me, I do not have your best interests at heart, I am against you. That person is honest. I can respect that person. They are telling me that they are against me. I can respect them because they are being honest. But somebody who says I love you unconditionally and they don't, and some of you are in those families at Christmas time. They want you to fill a role. So they come to your city walls and they ask you, will you be, open your heart to me. What do they want when they get inside your city walls? Is this somebody who, some toxic people will say, oh, I'm so loving. I'm your mother. I'm your father. I'm your uncle. I'm your aunt. I'm your grandma. I'm your grandfather. Oh, just let me inside your heart. Then they get inside, they get your vulnerable information, and they use it against you. Should you trust that person and let them in? No. So then when you go at Christmas time, you don't get to have those vulnerable, open-hearted conversations with people. Keep them out. If you want to test the waters and see if you can let them in, ask yourself, is there a reason to believe why they're going to be different from the way they were in the past? And ask yourself, can I take the risk? Can I take the risk to dip my toe in the water? Maybe let me see what they do with a little bit of vulnerability. So I'll give you an example. I had one of these toxic people approach me the other day, and he said, oh, you act like you're scared of me. Oh, why do you act like you're scared of me? And I decided to dip my toe in the water. He's like, you don't have to be scared of me. He was pretending as though. Now he honestly believes what he's saying. That's what makes it so wild and crazy. He honestly believes what he's saying. He's like, you don't have to be scared of me. I'm just here to help you. I'm just here. I just want to be a good person. So I dipped my toe in the water and I decided I'll be vulnerable with him and see what he says. And I said, I'm not scared of you. You've never apologized for the harmful things you've done to me in the past. He said, are you waiting for an apology? And I said, no, I'm not waiting for an apology. You are the one who just approached me. And he said, well, you still don't have to be scared of me. I'm really here. I just want to help with this and that. And I said, okay. Well, I said, I'll be honest with you. I'm still hurt and angry toward you at the things you have done. And he said, that sounds like a you problem. Okay, I dipped my toe in the water. He revealed to me that he was not honest. He was not a safe place for my vulnerability. Should I continue to be vulnerable and expose my heart to somebody who is not a safe person? No. So if anybody tells you you should be vulnerable with toxic family, again, who's toxic? I love you and support you, and I really love you and support you, not toxic. I am against you, and I am actually against you and don't care about your interests, not toxic. That person is being honest. I can respect that person. The people who are toxic are the ones who say that they love and support you, but don't. And they're like, oh, I'm so surprised that you think that I'm not loving. How could you think that I'm not loving and supportive after all I've ever done for you? Toxic people, they're dishonest. Okay? They say they love and support you, but they don't. And some of you are in those families. So what do? Do you be vulnerable with them? You can test the waters if you want with a little bit of vulnerability. Don't take too much risk. Take a little bit of risk if you want to test the waters. And if they still invalidate you, like that example I gave. Oh, I said, okay, I'll take a little risk. I'm actually hurt by the things you've done to me, and I feel angry toward you at the things that you've done to me. Okay, I was vulnerable. I was honest about how I really felt. And what did he say? He said, well, that sounds like a you problem. So you just approached me to tell me that I'm wrong, that the way that I feel is wrong. That's a toxic person. So should you be honest, or should you be vulnerable with those people? You can take a little risk if you want, but don't take too much. Don't reveal too much. Don't give them the potential to hurt you. So when you go and you're around these families at Christmas, you know what you're there for. You're there to pass some time. You can do some small talk. Oh, the weather is nice. Oh, the sports team is doing this. The sports team is doing that. Whatever. You can do some small talk, but don't be honest and open and vulnerable with people who aren't safe people. That's my position. Okay, you're free to disagree with me, and there are people, like I honestly used to be in the past. I used to say, be vulnerable, be vulnerable. They will open their heart. Some people will not open their heart to you, and they are not safe. So have discretion. And should you forgive? Should you forgive somebody? So what does forgiveness mean? And I would say, I used to believe that it's a moral obligation to be forgiving, because that was the religion I was raised in, is that we have a moral obligation to be forgiving. If somebody is repeatedly hurting you, then I would say for your own heart, in your own heart, speak to your own heart and give your own heart the tender love and care that it needs to mend the wound. I can let them go. I can release the anger and the bitterness and the resentment in my heart. But should you then let them in again? That's a separate question. So when it comes to forgiveness, do what you need to do to release and free your own heart from the resentment and the bitterness and the hatred and the anger. That's all justified. It's all justified if they hurt you. Especially if they hurt you and they're dishonest and they never apologize. And why don't they apologize? Oh, well, they don't apologize because they have overwhelming shame that they are not honest about. They don't apologize because they have trauma that they are not honest about. Look, those are not excuses. Some of us have trauma, and that doesn't mean that we go and hurt other people and be dishonest about it. Okay? It's like trauma is not an excuse for bad behavior. So, yeah, they have trauma. So, yeah, I feel compassion. I'm sorry that they suffered that trauma. I suffered trauma too. But I took responsibility for my trauma and I said, I have a responsibility to heal my wounds so I don't bleed on other people. And these people have so much shame and so much lack of emotional intelligence that they won't acknowledge their shame, they won't acknowledge their trauma, they won't take responsibility for healing, and they will just go and hurt you. So if you're in that situation, what do you do? So what does forgiveness mean? I no longer believe that you have a moral obligation to forgive. I grew up being taught that revenge was a sinful emotion. Desire for revenge was a sinful desire. I no longer believe that. It is not sinful. It is human. If somebody hurts you, it is human to want to hurt them back. Should you do it? No. Release the resentment for your own sake. I don't care about them. They deserve what they get. Because we all suffer trauma. Not everybody, but most people suffer trauma. Some of us decide to take responsibility for healing so that we don't hurt other people. And some people don't take responsibility and just go around hurting people and hurting people and hurting people and denying it. Why do they deny it? Well, they deny it because of their trauma and because of their coping mechanisms. I know. So it still doesn't make it an excuse. And you don't need to expose yourself to further hurt from a person like that. They need to suffer the consequences of their refusal to take responsibility for healing. Is it a refusal? Yeah, refusal is a story. Maybe it's not a refusal. Maybe they're in so much denial. Look, I've been in denial that where my brain literally told me something different than what was real. So denial is really powerful. When people can't handle the truth, our brains will protect us for our survival. So are they in denial? No, I'm not traumatized. No, I'm not hurting people. Yeah, but they're not a safe person. So should you forgive them? Forgive them insofar as it is necessary to free your heart. But that does not mean that you need to expose yourself to being hurt again by that person. So if you have anger that says put a boundary up, that is valid anger. That is valid anger. Put a boundary up. Don't let that person into your heart. So for those of you who are in those families who don't have the fortune at Merry Christmas time of being around a loving and supportive family, love and support yourself. Surround yourself with friends. Surround yourself with like-minded communities. But you don't need to surround yourself with people who are not safe people. And when you are around family member, I'm just reminded of the Ram Dass quote, who he said, if you think you're enlightened, go spend some time with your family. And yeah, it's like this gives us an opportunity to say, can I be emotionally intelligent through this situation with people who, look, I have some people have to grieve the fact that they don't have emotionally intelligent family, that they have family who is toxic. So if you have to do that at Christmas time, love yourself, recognize it for what it is. They are not emotionally mature enough to be loving and supportive. So get love and support from yourself to your inner child, to your own heart. Love and support from safe, trustworthy people, friends. Some of us, again, are fortunate to have loving and supportive family, and some of you are not at Christmas time. So, for those of you who aren't, free yourself of the obligation to be vulnerable. Free yourself of the obligation to forgive. See it for what it is. Spend some time. Have some small talk. And you know the truth. If you know the truth, accept the truth. All right. With that, I will wish you a Merry Christmas. I just wanted to acknowledge those of you who have toxic family around you at Christmas time, and it's a different experience that people who have loving and supportive families and who people who have not experienced a toxic family don't get it. And if that's you and you're around difficult people at Christmas time, I hope this gave you some encouragement and some love and support. And I wish you a Merry Christmas, and I will see you again soon. Much love.